Hello there, fellow Monster Madness ghouls and goblins. You're currently hearing the voice of a girl with no name, and it's here with very, very clear intentions to sound the alarm. Before you listen any further, beware that frightful spoilers and deliciously explicit language lie ahead. For once you find yourself in the midst of those telltale bumps in the night and the haunting howls of host laughter and cinematic judgment, there is no turning back. Choose wisely.
Welcome to another mildly famous Fireside Chat? I don't even know. Anyways, this time we have fellow Twitch streamer, thatoneblkguy. Super interesting dude, does a lot of like artsy stuff, big into movies. We attempted to talk about It Follows and then just literally talked about absolutely everything else, but you're about to hear that. Also was super lazy in putting this together, so sorry it's out later than planned. With that being said, make sure you check us out: Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, I don't know, the normal places. Monster Madness Pod. You can email us, monstermadnesspod@gmail.com. Last night was the big Among Us stream, and the cobwebs are real, so you know it's the same spiel every time, but please enjoy this fireside chat I did with our friend, That One Black Guy. I guess, so one of the first things, because you're obviously pretty into movies overall.
Yes.
What is kind of like your horror backstory? Because I never really took you for a horror guy, so I'm curious of like where that stands in your life.
The thing is, I used to be a horror guy. I was just into a lot of like generally edgy media.
Mm-hmm.
I was at one point a teenager, is what I'm saying.
I was gonna say, I think we all had that moment.
Yeah, so I was just aggressively watching horror films just because, like, thought, why not?
Mm-hmm.
I'm into gross stuff. I'm a gross boy. It's a gross part of my life, and it all comes together and makes sense. So I used to be really into horror films, and then as I got older, it's not so much that horror films like quote unquote got worse. It's more that what I was looking for from a film changed. It started being less about finding edgy content and more about like, oh yeah, there are other things about films other than being gross. Films
Mm-hmm.
can be not gross and good.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew?
That's a weird concept. But I think, to your point, like, I do think horror movies have gotten worse. Any of the good ones, I think the ideas have already happened, and anything that is new is still like some half-baked conglomeration of 3 other movies that already exist.
Well, when you get into art, like, it's like, hasn't everything been done to death at this point? Like,
100%.
it's not just like horror films. It's just at this
everything.
point, everything has influence from everything else, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think we get some very interesting things, but yeah, the more you know about a medium, the more you realize, oh, I've seen this somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch The Little Things?
I did not.
Okay. I talked about it with the guest last week. But I'm curious, do you have any intent of watching it? I'm not gonna like ruin it, but it's like I can't really have the conversation if you haven't seen it. So I'm just wondering if this is something we revisit later.
Maybe we'll revisit it at another date.
That works. It's just to the idea that art kind of repeats itself. Since the movie was written so long ago, it reminds me of something else that came out a couple years later, but that's neither here nor there. Something I did want to ask you before I asked you about your horror background is your chosen Twitch name. Because
That One Black Guy?
Yeah. I was just kind of curious where it came from.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, I was an edgy teenager. Now, this leads to being an edgy adult. So I made the Twitch name with the intent of when people have their alerts and they have to say my name out loud, that it would be awkward. Like they would be like yelling like, "Yo, that one black guy," and then they realize, oh, I shouldn't have yelled that in the middle of this restaurant.
That's kind of the way I felt a little bit when I first saw it. That like the first time I think you popped into our stream, I was like, "What do you want me to call you?"
It's like,
I don't really call you Black Guy.
What's the correct name here? Please help me out here.
Right. So I'm glad that it's kind of an ingest thing and you understand what it is. Hence, I mean, you're talking to the person who goes by Infant Stomper online and has
Yeah, my name's way less edgy than that.
Dude, it's just a really good song title, but it kind of like it stemmed from like the tail end of my edgy younger years, and now it's just bled into my adult life. And now I'm like, I don't know, it'd be so cumbersome to change it at this point. We're just going.
That's the thing. When you have a name, it's like, oh, now everyone knows me by it, and it's attached to all my things. Like, damn, I'm trapped. I trapped myself.
Yeah, and luckily, I mean, it weeds people out pretty quickly, and I kind of assume this may be the same for you. And it's like either they get it that it is just a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, and they move on, or they're just not open-minded enough to accept what it is for what it is.
Usually you've seen people respond positively to it. Like even in the days when I was using it to like troll people just to follow to see my name so they can read it. They'd be like, oh, that one black. They're like, that's funny. Like that would usually be the response. You know,
which is good. I mean, we kind of live in this hypersensitive world. So I could see it going the other way, but I guess I'm glad it wasn't negative for you.
Yeah.
Just my take.
I got away with murder. Haha, I'm problematic. You can't stop me, everyone.
That's the whole point of the internet, is to either be problematic or to be an asshole.
I mean, everyone's problematic.
To an extent.
Some people are just more problematic than other people.
That's a really good point. I don't know if you, I mean, feel free to plug your Twitch stuff, other than that it's
that one black guy at twitch.tv/that one black guy. Every word is spelled one word lowercase except for black, which is just BLK. Find me on Twitch.
Yeah,
right
we'll have the links in the show notes and stuff. So we'll make sure to adequately promote your channel. But
I will every 5 minutes. I'll bring it up.
Oh, that's fine.
In the middle of anyone talking, I'll just be like, well, it's time to stop talking and plug myself.
That's the name of the game when you are a quote unquote internet personality. It's all about jamming your brand down someone else's throat. Too far.
This is true.
I was like, did I just go too far? But you wanted to talk about It Follows. And I figure we will get off topic at least 15 to 25 more times, which is fine.
Minimum.
Yeah, but I figure we should at least start to talk about the movie that you wanted to talk about. Oddly enough, like my wife and I had just watched this not that long ago, so I was very happy when you mentioned wanting to talk about it. I guess I'm curious, like why'd you choose this movie?
Well, as an adult film nerd, I just aggressively watch a lot of things. So I was like, because I fell out of like love with horror films when I started to realize, oh yeah, films cannot do other things other than be spooky. Who knew? So eventually, it's just me just aggressively searching for the best one. Because I believe, maybe this is going to be a hot take. This will be the first hot take of the podcast. I think that in general, art is better now than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or however long ago. Because it's like everyone can do it, and it just by the law of averages, like eventually they're going to do good things, but you have to like dig to find things. Like it's just so saturated, you know? And then when I found It Follows, because I was shocked. It's like, oh, it's a horror film with like over an 80% Metascore. That never happens.
So do you think that like all art is better now because there's more, or because it's easier to find everything?
I think we just understand more about art. So even some of the films that I think are like bad now, it's like, I guess that just by time there are mistakes they're not making because time is gone. It's like it's harder to make certain mistakes. Like if you go to the earliest days of film, it's people not understanding that you're not filming a stage play, you know? They're just things that we've learned, that even like people who are just completely talentless, like they realize like, oh yeah, camera angles are a thing. And like it's like just because of that, we just know more about film, so that's easy. And films are just getting easier to make. People are shooting whole films on their phone that are getting played at film festivals, you know?
But that's
it's easier to, yeah. What were we saying?
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was like, that's kind of like my take on music now. Like you can now record your own band with whatever computer you have at home with free software and like a couple microphones or like a computer program that does whatever. I think it's just kind of the advancements of technology has made everything easier to do, so that, you know, say you had a really good idea but you didn't really know anyone in the film industry or had the monetary backing, you could make it yourself feasibly and get it out there and distribute it and be found that way. And I think that opens up a whole new world and makes life more interesting, but also like there's more bad stuff to weed through a lot of the times.
Yeah, because there's just so much more in general. So of course there's going to be more bad stuff.
Yeah, well, isn't that the law of averages though? I mean, the more you have, the more good, the more bad.
Yeah, most things are bad. As someone who watches like 500 films a year, most films are bad.
Do you rewatch a lot of movies, or do you generally try to stick to something new?
I rewatch films that I think there's something to gain from watching them again. And usually films I really love are films that if you watch them again, there's something you're going to gain from doing that. You know, whether that be whether that be like a artsy, like interpretive, like I'm Stanley Kubrick, look at my weirdness, or like even like a film that just there's something about the presentation I didn't catch before. Like I feel that way about like Martin Scorsese films. Like there's things about it I didn't realize that upon revisiting it, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. He definitely knew what he was doing, you know?
So by that, I would have to assume that you disagree with my interest in rewatching all the Jackass movies.
You know what? Here's a weird thing. I think the Jackass films kind of fulfill a purpose that isn't being met by a lot of other things.
Go on.
I would say that what Jackass is, it's hard to describe things that are like Jackass that came out before Jackass.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just dumb, but like think of all the things that come after Jackass. Like people started doing like dumb prank videos. Like it fulfills this very juvenile, like nonsensical, just complete like you guys. It fulfills a need, I think, in the art landscape that is not being met by a lot of things. Sometimes things don't have to be highbrow, you know?
Exactly. And I think there's a massive market for people doing dumb shit. Think of the fact that, you know, Tosh.0 ridiculousness shows of that nature are kind of like upgraded America's Funniest Home Videos. Varying degrees of shock value. But I also believe that movies like Jackass wasn't extreme, but say like, you know, the 90s comedies of Chris Farley and stuff, that I like those as background noise. I very, very seldom will sit down and focus on that movie at this point because I've seen them so many times, but to have them on in the background while say I'm cleaning or, you know, people over and it's just background, like that at this point very much has that purpose for me. Or to fall asleep to.
I'm someone who's like, I guess part of me is like, I like how shocking it is when people find like, I like Jackass for the most part. Like they'll see all my favorite. If you were to list all my favorite things, it'd be like, oh, look at all this high art stuff, and then it's like Jackass.
You know, just like over the time that I've gotten to know you a little better, like that doesn't really surprise me because you have like this quirky sense of humor that I really enjoy, and I could totally see you sitting down and losing your shit to some Jackass.
Yeah, I like a lot of things, and it includes high art and Jackass, which is the highest form of juvenile nonsense available.
Yeah. I mean, the story, oddly enough, I just finished Steve-O's autobiography earlier today. Like the story of how that whole thing came together is actually pretty interesting. And now that most of them are sober, but at one point they were just all drug-addled idiots putting stuff up their butts. Just let that sink in for a second.
Now they're drug-addled, middle-aged people putting stuff up their butts.
That's a really good point. I'm very excited.
Come full circle. It came full circle.
I'm excited for Jackass 4. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Most
hype film of 2022? Jackass 4.
Is it coming out in 22?
It's like that's the plan. Who knows if they're actually going to make it by then? But
there's that point. What is your all-time favorite movie? Don't think too hard.
The film Old Boy, the South Korean 2003 film by Park Chan-wook.
I've still never
film of
seen
all
it.
time.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about it, though.
I would call it one of like when people hear about like Asian cinema in general, they're like, oh, it's gonna be like slow and lumbering. But I feel like Old Boy is like one of the most accessible foreign language films ever made. It gives you a lot to be invested in right off the bat. It's a film that is everything I want from like a film, just to be like so full of purpose. Like every single thing. To be fair, part of this has to be credit has to be given to like the person who made the original manga, because obviously it's an adaptation. So a lot of that has to exist with that. But I do think that Park Chan-wook very cleverly makes changes that honestly, it's almost like I can't go back to reading like the manga or the follow-up novel, because it's like the film just did everything right. I can't imagine, like, there's so many things about it that I love in terms of like acting and cinematography and just storytelling.
When did Old Boy come out?
2003. Do not watch the 2013 version, because it's a piece of trash.
I didn't even know that they made it.
They remade it and it was bad, with Josh Brolin as the lead. It was terrible.
Was it like an Americanized remake, or was it still...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was an American remake that Spike Lee, famous director Spike Lee, just fucked up, and we will never forgive him for this.
I guess I'm thankful that I never knew that Spike Lee remade Old Boy until now. I guess we shouldn't even say remade. He ruined Old Boy.
Yeah, he decided, you know what? I'm going to do Old Boy, but I'm going to get everything wrong. It's literally like the first Old Boy is like a 10 out of 10 film. Then it's like Spike Lee's like, I can make a negative 10 out of 10. I can do that. He did it.
So I have this fascination with like budgets of movies. The original Old Boy had a $3 million budget and grossed $15 million in the box office. The Spike Lee remake, $30 million budget, grossed $5 million.
Yeah, no one wanted to see that shit. Like,
well, right.
If you're a fan of the original, you're like, nope. And if you're just a random person, you're like, that looks bad. You know, like,
yeah.
If you had no idea what Old Boy was, you saw the trailer for that film, you'd be like, I'm not gonna watch this.
But here's the other thing: is like, it's a 10-year-old movie. Like, there needs to be like some sort of time limit where it's like you can't remake a movie, whether it is, you know, a legal law or just the concept of. But it's like, if it's less than 20 years old, like, maybe just don't touch it yet.
I'm against the idea of like remaking films that just look. I think you could remake a film, but you shouldn't just do like a terrible job. It's obvious that from watching Old Boy 2013 that there was no vision. No, like, it makes me appreciate regular Old Boy way more. I guess that's a good thing that came from that. But
don't you think that Spike Lee like thought he was making the greatest remake of a movie ever?
Oh no, I don't think that at all, because when I look at we watch interviews with him, we talk about, he seems really like uninvested in Old Boy. Like, it seems like he didn't give a shit. That was the problem.
So that's what's weird to me, is like, why even make it if you don't give a shit about it? I understand you're being paid, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, damn you, capitalism.
Well, that's where they got Jude that was on last week. We talked about there's a name that directors use when they don't want to have their name attached to a movie. Fuck, what was that? Director name for bad movies. Here we go. Alan Smith with 2 E's.
Alan Smith. Yeah.
Yep. And I was shocked to see what movies this has been a part of. So kind of my thought is, like, if he didn't want to be a part of it, why not just go Alan Smith on it? But it's also Spike Lee, and I think he's kind of a douche. Like, he seems...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
a known asshole.
Yeah. So I guess he would want to leave his name attached, because why would he not want his name on something good or bad?
I'm Spike Lee. I'm legendary filmmaker Spike Lee. Fuck you guys.
What has he done lately that's been good?
Black Klansman.
Wait, what?
There's a film called Black Klansman, which is
okay.
Denzel Washington's son.
Yep.
goes undercover infiltrating the KKK.
And it's actually good.
It is actually decent. Like, it's not like a great film, but I would think that if you saw Old Boy and then you saw Black Klansman, you'd be like, okay, he does have talent. This is why we care about him. Okay,
Yeah.
this is why he can make a good thing every 10 years.
Okay, I'll give you that. Shit, you said something and I lost my train of thought because it's been that kind of day.
I'm a mind disruptor.
No, that's fine. It's fuck. I thought I had it again. Nope. That's how my brain is working today.
It's gone. Your mind has deleted it, and it's done a hard clean. It's no longer on your brain's hard drive. You can't get it back.
That's what I get for staying up late drinking. It's my own fault. Although it is 4:30 in the afternoon, I really have no excuse to still be a piece of shit. But here we are.
Don't worry. I'm a piece of shit 24/7, and no one stopped me.
Oh, you stop that. You're a terrific human being. Providing entertainment to the globe at weird hours of the day.
Yes. Soon to be international superstar. That one black guy.
Hey, I could see it. I can see the commercials now. I assume you'd have commercials, radio commercials, YouTube commercials.
If I was selling out, yeah, just a million commercials everywhere at all times.
Just lots of neon.
I get a tiger on a gold leash.
I feel like tigers are... Is Tiger King still like a thing? People still give a shit about that guy?
Yes. Mainly because when Trump was pardoning people, it's like, can you pardon Joe Exotic? Some people said it, as a joke, and some people said it, as not a joke, and then he didn't get the pardon, and then it came back and revealed that people still care about Tiger King and what's going on with Joe Exotic.
Did you see that he was so sure he was going to get pardoned that he had ordered a limo for himself? And then didn't get pardoned?
I did.
Oh my god, that's fucking great.
He's a narcissist. Of course he thought he was going to get free. He's out of touch with reality. That's why people like him.
That's what meth will do. That and knock your teeth out.
Meth and tigers, man.
Did you watch Tiger King?
Yes, I did.
What did you think?
I thought that it was shocking in how every episode was just, surely this can't get more ridiculous, and then it just did. Good on Tiger King. It just kept getting more ridiculous. I can't believe it kept upping the ante the entire time. That's almost the best part about it, is that you think it's gonna slow down and get fillery. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, honey.
No.
You're not ready. You're not ready.
Yeah, the fact that I knew so little about it before the documentary came out was kind of amazing.
I had never heard of Joe Exotic at all until...
I feel like I heard the name from just listening to podcasts, and then it wasn't until after everything came out. You can YouTube his meth rant videos for president.
Yeah,
they're
I've
insane.
Seen those.
Yeah, 20 minutes of him just losing his fucking mind about the weirdest shit in a tiger cage. I feel like this is what makes America great.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. Also combined with the fact that Netflix won't say no to any idea,
Yeah, especially when they had that show about the guys that were attracted to minors. The French...
I didn't hear about this.
Oh, Netflix show... French... I'm just, Yeah, I knew a lot of people... Shit, I may have to ask someone. Oh, yeah. French film Cuties.
Oh, okay. Now that you've said it, I know the name Cuties. Yeah, I heard about that situation.
Yeah, focusing on an 11-year-old immigrant who becomes invested in a risque dance crew as a means of escaping a strict religious home. Yeah, I knew a couple people that canceled their Netflix because of that. And I was just over here just not watching Cuties instead.
Yeah, this is the thing about that situation that's very interesting, is that it's that people were complaining because the trailer and the poster, which, fun fact, it now turns out that both things might not be representative at all about the film. That it's Netflix choosing to portray one part of the story, because obviously one thing that was interesting about the story is that the director, she based the story on her own life, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly this is her experience. And when you really watch the trailer, it's oh, this is there's just have it's when I watched the full trailer, what I got from it was it's like a young girl coming of age story that's just inappropriate. Like there's inappropriate things about it. Whereas the poster and what people were like focusing on in the trailer really didn't seem to represent the film. Like it's very weird that Netflix approved advertisements that were like overtly like sexual. It was weird. Like it was like it's kind of Netflix's fault for really pushing an angle that the film itself probably, if you were to watch it, would not agree with like the sexualization of like young girls.
Right.
But the poster tells a different narrative.
But even so, just by looking at the poster when I just looked it up before, and then reading the description, it seems very much like this could just be a movie where a girl joined like a dance squad and like watch any dance competition, and you could very easily say like, well, this is a very risque dance they're doing, or it's very sexually using sexual motions or whatever. And it's like, I think you could spin that whatever way you want. And to your point, Netflix knowingly chose to run ads that really played into the bad direction that the movie could be construed as. It is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like Netflix is still a financial powerhouse, and the largest streaming platform. Is one bad movie and a little bad publicity and it really hurt them? Probably
not really, because they've got a lot of bad things. If
Right.
it was gonna hurt them now, it's like Netflix is just like I kind of like their business model in that they're trying to like, we'll get every single audience type available.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make a thing for everybody. But this also means that sometimes that the advertisement team's like, what group have we not targeted yet?
And I can't even like argue or be like, oh no, man, like maybe not.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Invader Zim?
Yes. I remember liking it. I remember, as a kid,
Okay.
I watched Invader Zim.
That's really all there is to it. I think I saw bits and pieces here and there, enjoyed it. Kind of forgot it was a thing. We talked about Nickelodeon. I saw it.
When you're a young emo kid, Invader Zim, Nightmare Before Christmas, My Chemical Romance, it's the starter pack.
See, I never got into My Chemical Romance because by the time that they came out, I was more of like a nu metal kid. So I want to say...
You did it all for the Nookie?
Fuck you, bet your sweet bippy I did. My Chemical Romance. I don't remember what year they came... 2001, so it would have been, towards the mid to end of my high school career. They would have... Yep, 2004, the year I graduated, is when 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge came out. So that's when I was real big into like Fear Factory and like old Slipknot. I was going to Ozfest. That was about this time I started to find death metal. So I was a little too outside of that circle for emo, but being into nu metal and then metalcore, like I feel like emo, and then you became a scene person. The swoopy hair and all the extra eyeliner and shit.
There was a lot of eyeliner and swoopy hairs. Yes.
Oh yeah, and then like the weird. That was when MySpace came out. Oh man.
Top 8.
Oh fuck. I remember that was.
I'm so young that my first social media was Facebook.
Interesting.
Never even used MySpace at all.
Which I don't know. Like some people are like, well, I wish MySpace was back. Like I got into MySpace at the tail end of it being only for bands.
Yeah.
But it was still primarily like how we would book shows and how you'd find new music and stuff. And I just remember being super excited when like Killswitch Engage they accepted my friend request. And then I started to realize that just every band ever accepts everyone's friend request.
Yeah.
And that's like how it works. And then I no longer felt special. But I mean, MySpace still exists if you want to get into it.
It just feels like, what would I gain from this social media? Like I'm someone who's like, I wouldn't get it for music because all the bands and artists I like are just on other social media platforms I'm already on.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Oh yeah, there's 0 point to go back to MySpace. I think once in a while I would go back to look at like old band profiles to look for a specific picture. Because like my MySpace profile still exists. So I think I would go back and look for pictures that I had posted. And that's about the only reason I ever go back there. and that's the way it should be.
Leave it in the past. MySpace is social media boomer technology.
And I mean, technically,
It really
I've been called a boomer once or twice, so it is what it is. Like, Glitter sent something to me about a community challenge on Twitch, and I was just like, oh, what? And that was the oldest I've ever felt. I'm like, can you please explain this to me, because I don't know what you're talking about. And then she explained.
What's a Twitch?
wait. People are watching me?
On the internet?
Just strange concept. I know. I was trying to explain it to a buddy of mine. I'm like, I just, people just like want to watch people play video games. Because I don't get it. Like, I don't know, man. But there's money to be made, so why not?
I want to be a millionaire, but I also want to just sit around playing video games. So
isn't that weird? Like, I will once in a while in the middle of the day, I'll see if someone's on. Like, if I don't have a ton of meetings for work. And there's a guy who plays Friday the 13th from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, literally 40 hours a week. And there's like 100 people that are always watching him. And I'm like, you play the same game 40 hours a week. How do you not get sick of it? And why are people still here?
Yeah. It tends to be that when you're a gaming streamer, you either play just one game or you just play a variety of games.
Mm-hmm.
And if you play the one game, you better like either be really good at it or really entertaining.
And that's the thing. Like, I've come to terms with the fact that most people probably don't give a shit what you're playing as long as you're funny to interact with or enjoyable to interact with.
Yeah, it's very personality driven.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you can be bad at games and still a successful streamer. Although you beat Cyber Shadow and I'm still stuck.
Yeah, I did beat Cyber Shadow, which fun game. I literally screamed when it was over because I had to fight 3 boss fights in a row without being able to heal myself. That was fun.
Oh, that doesn't sound fun. I'm still.
It was a challenge.
Yeah, I remember watching you at the part that I'm stuck at. And I tried it like 3 times, and then I just went to play something else.
It's very difficult. It's definitely I guess I'm glad we're in an era where games are like, we could just be difficult. People like hard stuff. They like Dark Souls.
Yeah, but there's people like me and maybe yourself where it's like, I enjoy a challenge, but I also like to progress. Because if I don't progress because it's so difficult, then I'm gonna stop.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me.
I can see that.
Like, I really
also,
like
a lot of people don't have time to play games, so it's like if you're not going anywhere in a game, it's like, am I wasting I've been here for an hour. That's a lot of time I'm wasting,
Right. Like I'm playing Paper Mario Origami King, and like,
nice.
If you're keep dying in a boss fight, like, or you keep fucking up a puzzle, they just make it easier and easier every time. I'm like, that's kind of nice, but it's also meant for children, not
it's like
middle-aged men.
I appreciate it, but I feel kind of insulted as well.
Right. It's like, maybe let me fail a couple more times before you start spoon feeding me.
Would you like us to enable baby mode?
I mean, maybe next time. But that's like, I think it's an interesting game mechanic to make. Like, if you're clearly struggling with something, to kind of dumb it down or make it a little easier to figure out so that you are able to progress. Now, in Paper Mario, there's a couple of those. Have you played it?
I have not played the new one, no.
Okay, so there's a couple, like, you have to like slide this ice brick around and you have to like clear shit to make it happen. And it was like right after the first one, they start to make it easy. And it's like, maybe let me fail like 3 times before you just start telling me how to do it. But once again, if it was a younger kid who was playing it, then maybe after 1, they want that. I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah. A lot of Nintendo games have gone the road of, look, maybe literal children today can't play these games. Let's just make it easier. They released Kirby Epic Yarn, where it literally you can't die in that game. It's impossible to die in that game. Really? You can't do it. Yeah, you cannot die.
Yeah, the old Kirby games were so much fun too. Oh, holy shit, it came out 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Feel old yet?
Yeah, I do. I was when I realized that now if you have a 19 at the beginning of your birthday on a driver's license, you're old enough to drink.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's sad. I don't get carded for beer anymore.
Maybe it's just me. I get carded. Before, obviously I was not doing things during the pandemic, but before the pandemic, I was like, whenever I went anywhere to do anything, it's like, are you an adult? Like, how am I still getting carded at fucking 26?
My wife got carded for the first Paranormal Activity movie. And I mean, obviously that was, I don't even fucking know how long ago that came out, 14, 15 years.
Yeah,
but we went in the middle of the day, and the guy taking tickets had to put down his D&D rule book to card her. And I'm like, he probably just wanted to know what her name was. Just disguised it by carding her. But it's a rated R movie. Just whatever. Although more recently, someone was shocked to find out that she's in her 30s, and we were married. He thought she was my daughter.
Oh boy, that's when you know it feels like, is that your daughter? I'm like, no, that's my wife.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess is a compliment for her.
Yeah, it's a compliment for her. It's kind of an insult to you.
It's just weird. Yeah, I mean, I can't help that I sometimes look like a 45-year-old man.
I wouldn't peg you as like 40s. You definitely look like you're in your 30s to me, but
yeah. It's weird. So it's like when I grew a beard, I looked younger because, well, I mean, I'm not like, I like cheese and meat a lot, and you can tell. So I think by having the beard, like, it kind of made my face look less like lumpy. But yeah, that's whatever. I live in Wisconsin. What, do you really expect me not to eat cheese?
Yeah, it's a crime if you don't eat cheese in Wisconsin. Like, literally, they'll hunt you down and go, "Hey, all right, did you eat cheese today? No, time to go directly to jail."
Well, and that, like, Glitter's blown away by the, like, brats. Like, fucking brats are a thing here. There's Brat Fest. There's a brat eating competition. Like, it is brats. I also had to explain to her that it's like, when I go to the liquor store, there's just a pile of cheese curds 5 days a week. Across the street at the butcher, so there's a pile of cheese curds at the cash register. At gas stations, just cheese curds. And it's like, it's fucking damn near impossible to not find cheese curds somewhere. Like, they make it so difficult to not eat cheese curds.
Yeah, they're like, you better be eating some cheese. It's like a threat.
My grandma once made a comment about how my mom put cheese on everything. And I was kind of like, yeah, what's your fucking point? It's amazing. It should be on everything.
Cheese. I put that shit on everything.
Cheese. It's what's for dinner. And you should. Like, there's Erica and I were having an argument one time, and I was explaining to her, like, you've obviously eaten, I can't remember if it was pesto or Alfredo. Alfredo. Because I made Alfredo sauce. Do you put cheese on Alfredo?
No, I don't. I don't do that.
She was shocked that I did, and I'm like, well, Parmesan cheese is like an accent cheese. You put fucking Parmesan cheese on fettuccine Alfredo with some chicken, and I don't know why that's so weird, but I think that's just where I live coming through more.
Yeah.
Did I offend you with the amount of cheese that I eat?
I'm just saying that I'm putting that opinion very low on my tier list of your opinions.
Oh, that's fine. I've learned pretty quickly that we have wildly different opinions on a lot of things, and that's fine. That's what makes people great. I think the cereal one was where you started to lose me. Your hatred of Funyuns.
Yeah.
Grilled cheese for breakfast.
Grilled cheese for breakfast. I still get someone private message me being like, do you really think that grilled cheese is a breakfast? I'm like, yes, I do.
One of my best friend's dad's, his key term is breakfast is just a state of mind. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, you can fucking eat whatever, whenever. I can have eggs for breakfast. You can have grilled cheese for breakfast. You can have them for dinner. It's just
breakfast is a social construct.
Yes. It's a hot take conversation, and I thoroughly enjoy the fact that it happened. Now we need to get to the nitty-gritty of why do you hate Funyuns?
They're gross to me. They have a weird taste.
Do you like onion though?
Not really, no.
Okay. I mean that right then and there takes care of it. But I've heard people who like onion and hate Funyuns. And I'm like, I don't know if Funyuns are actually good or it's just like nostalgic because I remember eating them as a child.
Yeah. I think at one point I didn't hate Funyuns, but I tried them as an adult and my mouth was like, nope, you were actually repressing this and it's time to put them down forever.
Which is fine. I mean, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. I did see you ate I'm probably gonna fuck up the name. Is it Loco Mocha or Loco Moco?
Yeah, Loco Moco. Yes.
Okay. That shit's fucking amazing. I've only found it in a restaurant once, and it was when I was in Las Vegas, but I have made it at home a bunch. And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's fantastic. Like here in Hawaii, it's just go to most places you can have one. It's great.
I don't understand why it's like Hawaii specific when it's not difficult to make.
I don't know. I guess people in Hawaii are just like, yeah, we'll just slather a bunch of stuff. I mean, I guess there's a lot of food that can be described as just a slathering of things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just a lot of salty foods here. Like spam's really big in Hawaii. It's
really
hella salty. Yeah.
I've never eaten spam, and I want to keep it that way.
It's disgusting.
Okay, good. I was worried for a second you were going to say it was really good.
I like it, but it's disgusting.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, that's just to your the state of residence, is that is a place that I do really want to get to when the world's less weird. So what's since we mentioned the pandemic, what's it like down there with all this? I mean, obviously it's a huge tourist attraction, and has that slowed down?
It is definitely slowed down. If there are tourists around, they're just definitely not standing around taking pictures all that much of stuff. They're like, look, I'm not getting COVID to take a picture of a goddamn rock. Okay, we're moving on.
Are you pumped about that, or like?
It doesn't really bother me because I'm not. Some people are annoyed by tourists, but I'm like, I don't usually interact with them. There was like one time I was walking like to the bus. I used to have to take the bus home from high school. So I was walking. I have to walk down to the bus stop from the school, and it's like a bunch of tourists like, hey, we want to take a picture. You take a picture of us doing this. I'm like, why would you? Okay, whatever. Like it was the one time I was like annoyed with tourists.
I think
you want me to take a picture of you in front of this thing? Okay, fine. Let's get it over with.
It's very presumptuous of anyone, specifically tourists, to be like, hey, take this picture of me and my friends. Like you don't have shit to do.
Yeah, like I'm just here smoking weed and going to the beach all day. Like. You know,
I mean, isn't that what you do? It's like Jamaica. Like I think people just assume that all Jamaicans just sit on the beach and smoke weed all day. Although if I don't do
either of those things. Honestly, I never smoked weed, and I don't generally go to the beach.
I fucking hate the beach, but that's just me. Although if I've learned anything from Dog the Bounty Hunter, meth is just out of control down there.
Yeah,
I mean it's pretty bad here too, but there's no TV shows about bounty hunters yelling at people about ice, unfortunately.
Not yet. Come on, TLC. You know you want to.
There was at the last place I worked, one of my coworkers, he's like, I really want to get a TV show, and it's just a reality show of our company because it was just so many dumb people doing dumb shit all the time. And then the season finale,
corporate jackass.
Oh my god! Which really plays into the fact what he wanted to do is get a dart gun, and if you woke up outside, you were fired. I'm like, that's a fucking great idea. Just, the last Friday of every month, if you wake up outside, you don't have a job anymore. Probably wouldn't go over very well.
There'd be a lot of people who would be getting fired.
Yeah. Not only the people outside, but maybe the people who are doing the darting.
Everyone would get canceled immediately.
Yeah, there's that. We should probably talk about It Follows some more. We don't have to, but we probably should.
I mean, I guess if we must.
Well, that's the thing is I could I could do nonsensical ranting about random topics as much as you'd like. But you did bring this movie for a specific reason. Did you rewatch it for this purpose, or are you just going off memory?
I did rewatch it like 4 days ago.
Okay. Well, then we have to talk about it so I don't insult you for
we got to talk about It Follows. David Robert Mitchell.
Yes.
Really great filmmaker.
Was that sarcasm?
No, I mean, I really do think it's a great film. Like, I feel like he's on an upward trajectory. Like, It Follows is pretty good. Then he made Under the Silver Lake, which is an underrated masterpiece, in my opinion.
I've never
People
heard of
people
it.
don't like it's the film he did after It Follows, and people don't like it very much because it stars Andrew Garfield and he plays a complete asshole.
Well,
Like he's like a very unlikable, intentionally unlikable character, and people don't vibe with that.
but isn't that the whole point of acting? Like you
Yeah,
could
they're
be a
playing.
good guy but play an asshole.
I feel like people will only accept like unlikable characters, like if they're like cool. Like if you're like the Joker, who's like the villain of the Dark Knight, it's like, oh, it's cool then. But if you're just like a regular asshole, it's not okay then for whatever reason.
This movie, sorry, I was reading the description of Under the Silver Lake. This sounds pretty interesting. I may have to watch this.
Yes.
Although it's over fucking 2 hours long. How do you feel about the fact that basically the default runtime of a movie these days is 2 hours?
I don't know. I'm someone who believes that it's like your film can be how long as however long you want it to be, as long as you have the material to back up that length.
Mm-hmm.
Like films are just artificially longer.
Mm-hmm.
The Avengers films, like all of those are like more than 2 hours now. I'm like, why?
Yep. When Endgame was 3 hours, it was over 3 hours, but I don't think I have watched it start to finish in one sitting. Like that's too long to stay seated.
Yeah.
Especially as an
Every
adult.
film wants to be a goddamn Lord of the Rings.
Those are movies I'll never go back and watch. But I personally miss the days where 90-minute film, you got what you got out of it. And if it needed to be longer, it was longer because there was more story or there was more substance to make it longer. But just to throw a bunch of filler into a movie so that you hit 2 hours so people get their $15 worth, like, come on, that I don't care for.
It's kind of evolved to that. At one point, feature length was considered 90 minutes. It's like, but really, it seems like feature length. Like if you're going to be played in a theater, your film's like in general going to be 2 hours or longer.
Now, do you think that the feature length being 90 minutes stemmed from there was a lot more TV shows that were only a half an hour long? And now TV shows, there's more that are an hour long, and now with Netflix and other streaming platforms, they can be as long or as short as they need to be.
Probably to some degree, because obviously the point of a streaming service is like they're like, hey, we need you to sit down and watch this thing as much of it as possible for as long as possible, right? Then it feels like you've invested so much time in it. It's like, well, you can't stop now. Like that's the whole model of like, hey. You know, either there's two ways that Netflix tries to get your money. Either they invest you in a thing and you feel obligated to keep watching, or you forget that you're subscribed to it and then they keep charging you every month. You know,
that's I think that's a huge business model these days. Is the forget that you've subscribed.
It happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I forget, like, oh yeah, I am subscribed to this thing. When you have so many subscriptions, it's like keeping up with like cable channels. It's like, there's just so many.
There's I'm a sucker for samples. So like if there's a product that I would like to try and they're like, hey, get it for free, the gotcha is always that you sign up for a monthly recurring subscription. Well, most of the time the second month rolls around and they're like, hey, we shipped it, and I'm like, god damn it. So I get bit that way. But I think that's becoming like a big business model, and that's kind of it's not really shitty. That's just them being smarter than people. It's annoying from a consumer standpoint.
People are just really dumb.
Yeah.
People are just need to stop smoking so much weed and hanging out at the beach so they can remember these things, okay?
Well, luckily you can't sit at the beach here 9 months out of the year. So 9 months out of the year, I'm pretty good. But then it's football season. I know you probably care the least about football. You should do.
Yes.
Do you care about sports at all?
Oh no, I am a hard just not sports person.
So you couldn't do like a rating tier on sports because you hate them all. Although you could just put them all in the trash can. That would be pretty.
I mean, here's how little I know about sports. Until I was like 23, I didn't know what the line of scrimmage was.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know that it wasn't a real line. It was just the imaginary middle line. And let me tell you, at that moment I realized I'm never going to be into sports. It's just never going to be my thing.
Do you I mean, there's obviously no professional sports teams in Hawaii. Is there like semi-pro, or is there really any sort of sports that you can attend there?
Honestly, volleyball was really the thing. I don't know, people were real into volleyball for some reason. Like that was the sport that I would just everyone A wouldn't shut up about, and B I knew a lot of people who played like volleyball in school and like I guess semi-professionally.
Huh. I mean, I guess beach sports, beach volleyball.
Yeah, if you can do it at the beach, Hawaii's got
You
you.
could do it. Oh man, yeah, I guess I never really thought about that. Maybe we'll just sit and talk about things you can and can't do in Hawaii instead of the movie. That's all. That's really all I got was the sports one. I feel like everything else you can do. I mean, you clearly have the internet there.
Do I, or am I just rubbing two coconuts together?
Well, now you got to explain it. Are you rubbing two coconuts together, or are you actually on the internet right now?
I'll never tell.
I just hear like a soft clopping in the background.
It's like ooh, it's like turn on your camera. Like, no, I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I can't.
I'm not gonna show you anything.
But okay, so as like a technology geek, what is the internet like down there?
It's wildly inconsistent and it's not the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying like $200 to get like 60 up, 30 down. You know.
Have you? And I don't know how much you pay attention to technology, but have you looked at Elon Musk's Starlink at all?
I have heard many people bring it up. Yes, I've heard of it. I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, so someone I work with just got it. So he lives like further outside of town than I do. Like we have Spectrum, which Time Warner Charter, I'm sure you've heard of it, because we live like in front of a county highway that runs into the town. So we have good internet here, and that was a reason that we bought this house. This guy I work with lives further outside. It had like DSL, and he was paying like $150 for like 12 down and like 2 up. And then he recently switched to Starlink, which I think he said is 115, and it's supposed to be 100 down and 10 up. And like he got in on their beta, but if it's something, obviously as a streamer, you care about your internet quality. So I mean, if that's something you're interested in,
Yeah,
I'd suggest it.
Not dying in the middle of a stream, that's pretty cool. I'd like that.
Okay. Well, if it makes you feel any better, the other night my wife was doing she does small animal rescue stuff, and they were doing like an adoption event via Zoom because you can't really do them in person. And I was trying to stream, and we just kept fucking each other up because we were chewing up all the upload. And she,
because that's how it happens.
Because she's the wife, I had to stop.
Yeah, because she's the wife, you know that you're legally obligated to stop now.
Well, I just got a text message and it said, "I keep freezing. Please stop your game." I was like okay.
You're really just what she really texted you was stop, or I'm gonna come over there and beat you like I usually do.
Yeah, I'll fucking gut you like a fish if you don't stop. Like, oh, okay. No, it's fine. The more she does adoptions, the less animals are in my house.
Yeah,
that's
always story. Less animals, pretty cool. Having less of them is always a good thing.
So you're not like a pet person, animal person?
Not really.
No. What do you do in your free time?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I mean,
this is now just turned into me trying to learn more about you as a human being. I hope you're okay with that.
we'll click this and be like, man, they're still not talking about It Follows. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
So this is nothing new to me.
All I really do is just stream and edit and consume media. That's all I really do.
What's the weather like there right now?
It's actually sunny. It was raining all week up until today.
Okay. What's the temperature?
I have no idea.
I'm starting to feel a little bad that I'm just asking like filler dumb questions, but it was 40 degrees here today, and like we took the dogs on like I say it's a 3-mile walk, but it is literally just up and down our street 6 times. But I was fucking pumped. It's supposed to be 70 in a couple days. I'm like, I am not wearing pants that day.
Yeah, it's 74 right now.
God damn. Is it usually consistently like the 70s, or does it get real hot in the summer?
It's honestly pretty consistent almost year round, honestly.
I'm kind of jealous, especially if it's in like that low 70s.
Good temperature. Coming this fall to CBS.
When I stopped talking, I was like, maybe I'll just see how long until he says something.
Yeah, I'll force him to talk by not talking at all.
Hey, I mean, I hate overpowering, and this is obviously a platform to talk about whatever you want to talk about and plug your...
Don't worry, I'm a power bottom. You can't overpower me.
Touche. I have nothing to say to come back with that. So I think you've won.
Yep, winning is all that matters to me. I win. Got him.
I mean, you stuck through Cyber Shadow. That is a feat of strength right there. So I guess, what are you going to start playing now if you got that done?
I have recently started playing in Discord only the Blair Witch game from 2019.
I saw that. How do you like that?
I don't really like it all that much. It's from the same people who made The Medium, which I also finished like within the last week or so. And I'm not big on like jump scares.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the game is just mostly that. It's just shadow creatures jump out and you gotta use your flashlight. I'm like, this isn't scary to me. I'm desensitized to jump scares, I guess.
Yeah, I am. I just went back to start playing The Medium some more. I just got to the day room. I shouldn't say I just got there. I'm like a little bit into the day room, but someone convinced me to go back because he claims that the story gets better as you go.
Though that person's a liar.
I mean,
as someone who's finished the game, they're a liar. I guess if we're gonna continue playing, I'm gonna explain exactly why. But the ending is complete garbage.
God damn it.
It's like they didn't really think about how they were gonna end the game, and so it just doesn't. It just kind of ends abruptly for no reason.
That's frustrating. I don't care for that.
It has. I won't say what it is, but it has one of the most cliched, like they couldn't come up with a real ending kind of endings.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. So where I'm at so far, I kind of lied. I just got. I'm playing as Richard. Like, just got into the house. That's where I paused yesterday morning. But like the one thing I hate is like, well, it can't just be like a puzzle investigation game. There has to be this, soul-eating demon that follows you around that you have to hide from. And it's like, just fucking let me play puzzles and do the shit. Like, there doesn't need to be a potential murderous bad guy around. Like, why can't we just have...
point-and-click adventure, but with edge.
Exactly. It's like, why can't I just have like a story-driven game at this point? Everything has to have some sort of like gotcha. Maybe that's why I go back and play all the old ones.
One of my favorite things about the medium that it's not funny to me because it's like intentional. It's just when they do the split screen and I look at the not ghost half, It makes me laugh every time. It's so funny to me. It's like they're interacting with nothing.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of that happens in that game. Well, that's a bummer that you didn't care for the ending. I'm sure I'll casually get to the end of it. I was real excited when it came out. When I started playing, I was just not at all impressed.
Yeah, be real careful when you go to the fucking. It's a area later in the game. The bunker. I fucked myself bad enough that I had to reload an old save.
Oh,
there's a thing that if you fuck it up, you have to just go back to a previous save before you were in the bunker. You just have to. There's no way around it.
God damn it. Okay, because normally I'm the type of idiot that only has one save game and I just keep saving over it. So now I know when I get to the bunker that I'll have to create a separate save in case I have to go back.
Yeah, when you'll know when you enter the bunker when you have to put in the passcode to get through the door. Because if you fuck it up, you will have to reload an old save, or it's time to start the whole game over again.
No, I would just stop playing it forever.
You're like, oh, okay, game, you want to play that game? Fine. I'm just gonna give you a negative review, and we're gonna call it a day.
Yep, just uninstall it. Not a big deal.
Uninstall. I'm gonna sue the developer.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I would consider it. It's gonna sound kind of weird, and that's fine. But have you ever like tried to return a game on Steam that you've played?
Honestly, nope, never have.
And that's the thing. Like, I felt really dirty. Like, my brother got me some fucking role-playing game for my birthday last year, and we both played it, and I'm like, this is fucking garbage. And he goes, well, just return it. And I'm like, I feel dirty doing that. But it was like a $60 game, and eventually I was just like, okay, fine. Like, I'm never going to play this again. And they were really, like, nice about it and gave me my money back. But I'm like, I feel like that's like wearing a shirt, washing it, and then taking it back and be like, I don't know, I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I assume so many people game the system that it's like, I don't want to get lumped into that group of people that are like, well, I played it and whatever, I'll just get my money back. Maybe
there definitely are people gaming the system. I feel like the only reason I would return a game is if it's just like not functional. Like if I bought Cyberpunk 2077, I'm like, yeah, I deserve a refund for this.
See, and that's a game that I'm waiting until it's quote unquote fixed to even bother purchasing.
Honestly, here's my hot take because I don't own it, but I've played it at a friends' house. And here's
Mhm.
my hot take about Cyberpunk 2077. Even if you fixed all the glitches and bugs, it would still not be a good game, in my opinion. Like, the AI is like dumb. Like so dumb that
Oh.
it's like distractingly bad. Like they would have to like patch the AI. I don't think the story is all that interesting. It's like it's just Deus Ex, but better looking.
So at what price would you feel that game is actually worth it?
Maybe like $30, maybe at least
Mm.
half price. It should not be a full price game. It does not feel like a full game that is worth all the money. It's just very visually like complex.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, it's a very mechanically boring, very been there, done that. Like there's not a single thing in the new Cyberpunk game that hasn't been done just as good in like Deus Ex Human Revolution, except for like the graphics, I guess.
Interesting. Kind of shifting gears, still talking about games though. Have you heard of the game Not for Broadcast?
I have not.
Okay, so you basically play like a control board operator in a newsroom, and it's like all this weird shit happens, and there's like weird mini games. I kind of want you to play it.
Oh,
I don't know how actively you search the internet while doing stuff like this, but I would, if you look it up and it seems like it might be reality, let me know. I think it's still in early access, but it's like they just released like the second episode, and I feel like there's going to be like a bigger weird story like Five Nights at Freddy's type of shit where there's like stuff that you're supposed to catch. But in terms of it just being like kind of a fun game where you switch cameras and you get a score based on switching cameras and staying focused on the person, and then there's like you have to turn a fan on and shit when stuff overheats and put tapes in for commercials. It's called
that sounds interesting.
A dystopian propaganda simulator.
I looked at my Steam. It's on my Steam list.
Okay.
I definitely have heard about this game at some point before.
Yeah, I just saw that they had a new update for it. I have to go back. Man, I thought about streaming it, but I don't know. I don't know if enough people would give a shit about watching it.
I mean, you stream, what is it, Phantasmagoria?
Yeah, that's fucking
like
game.
You definitely have like you're already streaming like niche content games anyway.
It's a good point. It can't get any worse. Although Phantasmagoria 2's got in, I forgot how weird it was, like the weird sex scenes and hypersexual.
Always forget about the weird sex stuff.
Well, I forgot how, like, I never really think about it. Like, if it was just me playing in a dark, candlelit room, it's not that bad. But it's like when people are also watching, it's very uncomfortable to see, like, a weird 90s sex scene with some boobs out. I actually thought that Twitch may have actually got pissed about the boobs, but I haven't gotten an email.
Yeah, Twitch only gets mad when it's like, there's definitely like sexual things you can't do in games. Like, you can't do like, if a game allows you to like to get a prostitute, you can't like choose to do that in a game. I know a friend who got like suspended over it.
Oh, really?
She did like was the hot coffee mod for like one of the GTAs, and
I gotta look.
It's a very explicit sex scene. It's like she got suspended for it for a bit. I'm like,
oh yeah, okay. Initial player to enter Carl Johnson's girlfriend's house and engage in a crudely rendered, partially clothed or nude, depending on the version, sexual intercourse minigame.
Yeah.
Huh. I had never heard of that. Wow. The Wikipedia has a graphic. All right.
Yeah. It's got a graphic. Get the graph up.
Fuck, man. Shit. Now what? Now what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Oh yeah, we were talking about It Follows, I think, at some point.
I was trying to find like a way to segue back or whatever.
Well, It Follows, horror film, 2014,
Mhm.
David Robert Mitchell.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Here's going into this. Before I watched this film, because I didn't know about the director or anything he made or anything, so I was like, one thing I find kind of annoying, and maybe this is just me, I feel like there's at least one horror film every year that everyone loses their mind about that I think is very overrated, like The Babadook. Like, it's a film that's like, it's fine for what it is. It's just people lost their minds over it, like it was the second coming of Jesus. And going into it, I thought, is It Follows going to be one of those? And I think it's better than that. I think it's definitely more substantive in terms of presentation, story, and just ideas than like one of those overrated films.
I totally agree. I don't dislike The Babadook. I enjoyed it a lot more. It's just the fucking kid ruins it for me. But
Yeah, that kid's terrible.
Fun side note, for being a groomsman in a friend of mine's wedding, some guy made the Babadook books. So I have like an actual full-sized Babadook pop-up book in my basement. And that is really cool to me. Like, I thought it was a cool prop, and having that is really cool too. But it's like, it does nothing for the actual story of the movie or anything.
Here's the thing. Here's a weird thing. I thought the Babadook was going to be more interesting than when I get to a certain point, and the Babadook is like, you see it in real life. I'm like, it looks like a hipster in a top hat. It looks like it's like a Marilyn Manson cosplayer.
Oh,
like, what does he do?
Fucking hilarious. A hipster in a top hat.
Yeah, I've said that many times on stream that I'm like, it was honestly the book version of the Babadook is scarier than when he comes out in real life. Like, way scarier looking. Honestly,
yeah. There's if you Google image search Babadook, there's some like more lifelike pictures, and yeah, your description's spot on. Although I forgot that they made, so there's a lot of Babadook in front of like an LGBT flag, because I forgot that they made like the Babadook butt plug.
Yeah, the Babadook is in fact now a gay icon.
Yep.
Eat it up, honey.
Hey man, whatever.
I just think it's kind of funny of all the things to turn into an LGBT icon. It's like, let's turn the villain of a horror thing into a gay icon. It was really funny to me.
Know like what the reasoning was behind like how they made that connection.
I think it was done mostly as a meme. Like, there are people who were just as a joke saying it, and then people were like, someone was like, you know what, I should write an article about how should be a real thing, and then it became a thing.
The internet, man.
I mean, to a certain degree, like, maybe it's just me. Find that a lot of like people who are in the the LGBTQIA plus community,
mm-hmm.
they a lot of them identify with like horror villains, because what they like about horror villains is that they're just unafraid of being themselves. They're very like, I'm just gonna take what I want and do what I want. Like, they appreciate that aspect of it more than like like the villainous behavior.
Correct me if you feel otherwise, but horror and like heavy metal music are always pretty hand in hand, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that like if you are involved in that community, you're probably some sort of outcast for some reason or another. And when you get to that point, like, I don't fucking care what you do, who you are. I just, like, if you're a cool person, you're a cool person. And I think that might have a lot to do with why maybe they made a Babadook butt plug. Maybe
Possibly.
Not. I don't know. I just think like the horror community and the heavy metal music community are so encompassing and accepting of everyone from all walks of life that it's just like, why not? Why not? It's still funny to me that they did that. I have no use for it, but someone does. There's clearly a market for it.
Yeah, someone's at home being like, yep, you know what? I'm going to become a drag queen, and I'm going to do a Babadook look, and you know what? I'm going to start my career doing makeup tutorials that no one wants, and that's going to be my life. Like, good for that person. Good for whoever that person is who's like, yep, the LGBT icon, the Babadook, I live.
Shit, fuck, man. I don't... I really... There's no rebuttal to that. Like, I'm good for them. Whoever made that, good on you. Because that is a business venture I didn't think of first.
Yeah.
Sadly, there's
Speaking of horror villains,
I was gonna say there is no It Follows butt plug. Which, given the concept of the movie, you'd think that they would have tried.
Maybe not. Because this is the thing. Yes, it's a very sexual film. It's like a coming of age story that's also a horror film.
What?
In that, like the events of her losing her virginity caused all this horror stuff to happen.
Now, this might be a dark hot take, but it was like, instead of there being an It Follows butt plug, there should be an It Follows pocket pussy.
Yes. You know what? You're thinking of the merch. You got the correct merch.
Thank you. That's, I'm nothing if not a marketing super genius, which I'm not. I'm not that either. But if you're listening to this, you've never watched It Follows. The premise is that there's a sex demon that gets passed from person to person, and the way to get the sex demon to stop following you is to have sex with someone else. Now, the kicker here is that if you've passed it on to another person, if that person dies, then it goes back to hunting you. So my wife made a very fun point. She goes, why not just go to an orgy?
Yeah. This film kind of invites those questions of like, what if you have a threesome?
Right.
So what counts as sex? What doesn't?
And that's the thing. I was like, are we just talking general insertion, then you just
Yeah.
go to an orgy, get it out.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
so many people away that you should be fine.
Yeah. Does it matter if you use like there's so many questions like does it matter if you use a condom? Like it's like I really like there's just so many questions like what if you have sex with a shark?
Yep.
Does that count? Like
You know what? I didn't think about that, but now I did. That's a really good point.
If you just like it's the thing that if you're in this universe, it might be worth trying because it will follow the shark around, right?
Mhm.
If it works, it's going to be in the ocean.
So here's
for
the thing:
a while.
you either die trying to have sex with a shark, or you succeed having sex with a shark, and then the shark hopefully kills it. Or
Hopefully,
option C, it's too busy chasing a shark around the ocean.
yeah.
So I think we should explore. We should make an It Follows too.
They were talking about possibly making it follows too, and I don't think it's necessary. Like it's like it's one of those films where it's like it ends just where it needs to be. We don't need to be like here's how the monster works. Like it's not one of those films where it matters. Like the setup is like you don't need the logic of how it works exactly to like enjoy it. Although I will say I think that the film is wildly inconsistent with some of its rules, especially at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I did want to talk about the ending with you because I think it gets so ridiculous. The whole pool scene is
because it doesn't make any sense with the established rules is one of the problems. It's like okay, he can just walk around. Like then why doesn't he just walk around all these other places and get them? Like
right.
Like he does it just at the end.
Yeah.
There are rules associated with the monster, right? Like you've explained some of them before, but it's like there are scenes where if you think about how the monster works, it's ridiculous what you're seeing or what you're hearing from the characters. Like obviously the main character gets the ghost STD from this guy that she's dating. This man who's planning to pass it on to her decides what should I do for a date? Let's go to a movie theater, a place where I have to sit down.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to be looking one way. And they play this game where they're trying to like talk about like people in the movie theater, and then he points to like, oh, there's the girl standing there in the yellow dress, and then the main character can't see it because because it's the ghost, but it's the monster. It's like, well, if he describes the girl as standing there, can the monster just stand places now? Like when you think back on it, like he describes it as standing there. I'm like, it doesn't just stand places, really. Like, what do you mean? Like.
Right, and then there's a scene later in the movie where it's the naked old guy standing on the roof of the house as they're driving away. And the girl
he should
stares.
be walking off the roof.
Right.
He just walk off the roof.
Right. And that's the thing. The rule, as you stated, should be that they're always walking. They're always advancing towards you regardless to try to kill you because that's their mission. Why are there two instances in this movie where it is deciding to just stand still?
Because that's what parts was, but it's like it makes me wonder like, and this is not an original take. Obviously, like people have been complaining about like the logic of this film for years at this point. Even and most famously Quentin Tarantino, who said that the rules were inconsistent. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, it doesn't make that much sense. I mean, I still like the film. It's like if you're gonna have this grand idea, you should really apply the logic of how the monster works to like every scene. Where it's clear that wasn't the case.
Yeah. I mean, for as popular as the movie is, you'd think that they would have thought. Obviously, when they recorded or filmed the movie, they had no idea how popular it was going to be. But for something to be so popular and so revered to have so many holes in it, in the story and the concept, that's a little weird. But
yeah, I'm someone who's like, whenever I think of the logic of a film, like it doesn't have to quote unquote make sense in the real. It has to make sense within the story you're telling. Like the reason I would make the same criticism at something like Inception. Inception makes no sense and is inconsistent with its rules. If you really think about it, like, oh, when you go down a floor, it makes gravity lessen. I'm like, then why doesn't it do it at the snow level? Because fuck you. Don't think about it.
Well, and that I think is just a common film problem across the board. There's like I think sometimes people try to get so artsy with it that they start to ignore the rules that they have set forth for themselves beforehand.
And also, like, time travel films are very guilty of this. In general, if you watch a time travel film, you're gonna see a scene that doesn't make any sense when you remember that they're time traveling. Like Looper. Looper makes no sense if you try to think about it.
I don't think I've ever seen Looper.
Well, it's a time travel film, so you can glean that it doesn't make much sense. Although I would say there are two time travel films I think thought about their rules very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever watched a film called Primer,
Mm-mm.
it's like an indie time travel film, and I feel like they really sat through and thought of like the Primer makes perfect sense if you think about it. Like there are things that seem like they don't make sense that if you think about the rules established, it's like, yeah, it would happen like that. And then there's a film called, more famously, 12 Monkeys, directed by Terry Gilliam, which it makes sense because the ending twist of that film is just they can't go back and fix the thing because it ends that way. It's, oh yeah, it is consistent because they can't time travel their way out of that problem.
Did you watch the 12 Monkeys TV show?
I did not.
I don't remember seeing 12 Monkeys. I should probably change that though.
It's a pretty great movie. Great performance from Brad Pitt, who's very animated as his character.
That's like, in my opinion, like niche Brad Pitt, because this is right around the time Seven came out too.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Seven?
It's probably my favorite David Fincher film.
Okay.
It's fantastic. It's iconic. I'm glad it made so much money because the studio he was working at before, Fox, was like, we don't want to do this idea. So I'm glad that it just proved that they were wrong, that it made so much money and is now a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad about that it says, fuck you, Fox. Fuck you for not believing in David Fincher.
So we're now kind of coming full circle, because when I was talking about The Little Things before, The Little Things was written a couple years before Seven, but it feels very Seven in some of the concepts. And obviously not the Seven Deadly Sin murder portion, but that's kind of why. And now knowing that you like Seven so much, I do really need you to go watch The Little Things when you have time, because I'd like to discuss that with you.
Yeah.
Not that it's
Sure.
a bad thing. It's just, and I have a serious crush on Jared Leto.
Really? You're a Jared Leto boy.
I saw 30 Seconds to Mars live after the second record came out. And I kind of fell off when they got real pop rocky, but when they were a straight rock band, man.
Yeah. So what's your favorite Jared Leto performance, and why is it the Joker from Suicide Squad?
Dude, it's not that.
Shucks.
That's right. I just thought that was really funny and specific. I didn't dislike his Joker, but I didn't dislike his Joker because I understood that there are, a handful of different interpretations of the Joker as a character across all the universes of the comic book, and that the one that he played was an interpretation that did exist. So I didn't get as butthurt about it as most people.
My problem with it is just that it's like the director didn't reel him in. Like, it's literally the director's fault. Like, there are scenes where I'm like, just tell him to tone it down a little. No, okay. Like, Jared Leto's a good actor. It's just when you let him do whatever he wants, you can't trust him to do whatever he wants. He's not one of those actors. Did you see
him in the new, I think it's the new Justice League as the Joker, or is it the new Suicide Squad?
That was the new, they did the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. I didn't see that. I've never seen the original Justice League either.
Oh, the original Justice League is garbage. The Zack Snyder one's not out yet, but Jared Leto as the new Joker, it's not the same. It's not like the, Mafia Kingpin Joker. It's more of like the insane one. So we'll see how that pans out.
I feel bad for Jared Leto because what he's following up is not just an iconic character. It's like he's following up Heath Ledger, right?
Right.
Because Heath Ledger's performance was so strong that it didn't just change how we perceive comic book films. It kind of changed acting in a way. Mm-hmm. A lot of actors after seeing The Dark Knight are like, I can do method acting. Like, there's a lot of actors who just talk about it all the time because like Heath Ledger was so iconic that it kind of changed how people are trying to act, which is a lot to follow up for anyone. And Jared Leto was in a film with a bad script, and then no one told him to tone it down. There wasn't really that much of a character to it. So it was a tough job to begin with, but also he's following up Heath Ledger.
Yes. So back to your original question, every part of me wants to say that my favorite Jared Leto performance is him as Steve Prefontaine.
In what film?
I'm going to leave that extended silence in there. So Steve Prefontaine was a Olympic runner, and Jared Leto played Steve Prefontaine in the movie. That's not actually my real answer, but I do recall that's like one of his first. It was like the third movie he was in. But Requiem for a Dream or American Psycho are probably my favorites.
That's when he was still trying to be in good films.
Yes. Now, American Psycho, I thought he just played a very convincing asshole, and in Requiem for a Dream is probably one of my favorite movies because it's so depressing. It never tries to be happy at the end, and I think that's why I like it so much, because it is a fucking downer through and through. Like, it used to be cool to like that movie because, you know, edgy teenager, but as I got older, it's just, dude, it's a good movie. It's a really good movie, and it displays.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it because of, like, it's depressing. I'm like, well, if a film tries to be depressing and it's successful, it's not really a mistake the film's making, right?
Right.
I think some people project that if they don't like enjoy the experience, like if they don't think a film was like fun or entertaining, that therefore it was bad. But film is a medium that can express a wide range of emotions.
Right, and I feel the purpose of that movie is to display drug use as what it is. You know, that's multiple stories of a group of people that had their own interactions with drugs and how it resulted for them. You know, like the mom doing speed to try to get thin to be on a game show, and how she lost her shit, and Jared Leto's use of intravenous drugs and him losing his arm as a result of it, and, you know, the girlfriend going to a weird sex party with old men just to get drugs. And it's like, I think that's sometimes that, like, you need to know what's out there to better understand what's going on. And it's
That's
not
how I feel about, like, that kind of cinema that aims to be, like, disturbing. Like, clearly Darren Aronofsky was like, this is going to fuck some people up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He definitely made a film with the intent of, like, being disturbed to like get in the heads of people. I think he was ultimately successful. People still talk about it today. It's at this point, I think, a classic film.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I feel like people are sometimes too quick to be like, well, this film, like, oh, it's essentially just like an extended like Dare commercial, like, oh, drugs are bad. Like, I don't know if it's that simple. I feel like people are being uncharitable to it because they don't like it. I think sometimes people confuse that every film you don't like isn't necessarily bad. You know, like, people
Right.
seem to think that if the emotion isn't positive for them at the end, that's a reflection of the quality of the film, which I would argue is not the case.
No, just because you like you're saying, just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it doesn't align with what you prefer in a movie. Some people don't want to be sad, so they don't watch, you know, horror movies or thrillers or, you know, psychological thrillers, whatever. And that's okay. That's like, some people listen to garbage music because that's what they like. There's a market for everything. You know, some people like watching girls fart on cakes. There's a market for that. Not what I'm into, but there's a market for it. Just the beauty of people and difference of opinions.
The real Requiem for a Dream.
I do, and I'm sure
I said the title of the film and the podcast. We're done, everyone. I said it.
All right, okay, I guess that's all she wrote. Is there anything else of It Follows that you want to talk about?
I do want to talk about, like, I think that the presentation is fantastic for what it is,
Mhm.
especially the opening scene where it's like they're filming at like dawn, and then this girl's like walking around, the camera switching around,
Mhm.
and I feel like that for an indie film that really, like, if you fuck this scene up, like, if you fuck it up bad enough, you have to just record on another day because you have a limited amount of light. Like, the fact that it's that exact time of day is the intent. So it's like there's a lot of pressure for her. Like, it's a one take scene. You have a limited number of times you can retake it. There's a lot of movement going on. It's like for an indie film to be like ambitious in that way, to be like, look, just because we're an independent film doesn't mean we can't, like, you know, we're shooting this like a real film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of horror films don't really have notable cinematography, in my opinion. And this film, with like significantly smaller budget than, like, you know, a lot of other horror films, than something like a It Chapter 2 or a Conjuring, or these bigger budget films that can afford to do whatever they want to, just don't have this sort of ambition to be like, look, we're gonna film this like it's a film that matters. You know, it's not just shot reverse shot. I think it's very commendable for the film. It's actually just well shot overall, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Really
So,
appreciate that aspect of it.
To that point, it also goes back to what we talked about earlier, is the fact that it's like, now you can do more with less because of the advancements of technology.
Yeah.
You know, you're able to make something look better on a lower budget, and I think that's this movie is specifically a case where someone with not a lot of financial backing was able to make a really good movie, and it came out really well. Doesn't always happen that way, but this is a perfect example of something that was good.
Yeah, it's also like purposeful. Like there's a lot of like slow zooms, which makes sense because the character's kind of the main antagonist is always slowly creeping on these people. There's a lot of slow zooms on things is like it makes sense. Like there's a lot of thought. They definitely had a plan going into the film, what it was going to look and feel like.
Yeah, it was a lot of planned tension. Like the slow zoom creates a lot of tension, and I really enjoyed that. And there's something special about like specifically one thing I can think of I think it's House of a Thousand Corpses when I think it's Otis shoots the cop, and there's like that real slow pulling back of the camera. It's like 45 seconds long, and then after that 45 seconds, he finally shoots the cop in the head, and it's just like that real long, like what's gonna happen. You're just waiting for it, and it creates a certain amount of tension that I really enjoy.
Oh, for sure. Horror as a genre, I feel like maybe because a lot of films tend to be like found footage or like ghost films. They're like, oh, people will be scared by that aspect. We don't even have to try to be good. I'm like, well, it's still a real film. I feel like the reason I fell out of love with horror has a lot to do with the fact that I feel like a lot of horror films are made very like cynically, like, oh, we'll just throw in a ghost thing and those idiots will eat it up. Like, no, like if you just treat it like a real film, I think it follows is a testament to this. If you treat something like a real film, people will respond to it like it's a real film.
Yeah, I mean, horror can be like horror doesn't have to be gory or doesn't have to be over the top. You don't need a slasher. You can have something like this and it still be effective in what you're trying to accomplish. And like you said, it follows as a really great example of that.
Yeah. So, also really appreciate I don't know, go ahead. What were we gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, so what other movies would you kind of line up with It Follows? But I think you were gonna make a point before it's worth moving on, so I want you to make
I was gonna move on, but I will say, since you did ask me that, other films that because I appreciate like the craft of something. So what I value very highly in just films in general is presentation, and horror doesn't really usually do that for me as much. But when I think of like, especially like modern horror films, I really appreciate. I mean, this is a hot take. I really enjoy. It's just hot take the podcast.
That's fine. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I really think that the new Suspiria film is great, and in fact, I would go as far to say that it's even better than the first one, and it blows it out of the water in every aspect of filmmaking.
Man, dude, to me, the remake was so fucking weird.
It was weird. I will give that. It's a weird film.
But
I think that on every level, it just eclipses the original.
It's a strange concept. So I think to your point, like, it's a strange concept. So why wouldn't the movie just be strange too?
Yeah, like I think that another film that Suspiria is like so well, like this is like, the original Suspiria is a cult classic, and I think it has a lot to do with like its very colorful production design and lighting. But I feel like when you look at the other aspects of the original Suspiria, like there are some scenes like when the girl falls into like the barbed wire trap, like that's it's just comical to me.
Right.
Like
right.
She's just like, I'm falling into a window. Now I'm gonna fall into this pit. I'm like, is this a comedy? What are we making here? Dario Argento, what are you making here? Whereas I feel like the tone of the new film is very consistent. Like whatever emotion it wants you to feel, I think it accomplishes without sacrificing. Like it's a very well made film. Like I really think like Tilda Swinton, goddamn, playing 3 roles in the new Suspiria. I'm like, is it unnecessary? Yes. Is it like amazing? I think so. I think she does a great job at all 3 roles.
And this is not like a great comparison to make, but think of, like Eddie Murphy playing 5 people in the Clumps.
It's interesting when you can, because I think a lot of people, when they play multiple roles, you can always kind of tell, like, oh, okay, you're not really transforming into a new character each time. But for Tilda Swinton, another hot take. I think Tilda Swinton might be the greatest living actor. Maybe that's going to be a hot take for some people. They're like, I mean, some people who are hearing this, all 50 of you, were going to be like, hey, you know what? How dare you throw shade on my girl Meryl Streep, and how dare you throw shade on Daniel Day-Lewis by saying that? I'm like, but I think that Tilda Swinton somehow manages in every film I've ever seen her in to play a different character. consistently and believably.
I would like to point out that we are topping the charts in Turkey. So
very popular in Turkey. Hello, Turkish fans.
That is my favorite statistic about this podcast, is that we are pretty big in Turkey.
I have a friend who's like a streamer who's like, he's on his profile it just says, I'm very big in Lithuania.
You know, probably my favorite, let's see, let me double check, but my favorite thing about being in a band is the fact that someone in Russia really likes us. It's like
Russia
randomly,
of all places.
Yeah, like I don't know how, but that's amazing. Like I like to check our Spotify statistics, and it's like, hey, a bunch of people in Russia played you. I'm like, okay. And that's kind of the beauty of this thing we call the internet, is stuff gets around and you don't even know how. So if your friend is real big in Lithuania, awesome.
I'm real big in Australia. I guess I have a lot of Australian viewers.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually really fucking cool.
All content at this point is really international.
Yes. Yeah. Holy shit. Someone in Italy listened to us. That's a new one. Yeah, but that's, someone randomly finds you from a different country and then goes and tells their friend, and then they tell their friend, and they tell their friend, and that's how.
It's a plague. It's the real pandemic of the mind.
But isn't that what we all want?
I think, yeah, it's great that people could just I can just talk on the internet and people will just find it because it's on there. Someone will find it.
And here's the thing, and I don't know if I ever told you this. If I did, I apologize. But it's like we friended Glitter by me playing the 90s Titanic point and click adventure game. As a result of that, that's how I met you, and that's how I've met a bunch of other people. So it's like the weird niche shit that you do can turn into all these other weird random friendships.
It's weird how many people I know on Twitch because of the most nonsensical things. I should tell you this right off why I started a Twitch account, because this is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I started a Twitch account because there was some post on Reddit or somewhere. There was some post that someone got suspended on Twitch. Someone got drunk and it was
whoa,
some guy was just he just went on camera, passed out with no pants on. You could just see his full ass. And I thought to myself, interesting. It was a big deal. And I'm like, I gotta see this, guys. I gotta see what this is about. So I saw the clip, and then I'm like, I gotta follow this. And so I created a Twitch account to befriend a channel that they don't stream anymore. They were called the Super Cubs. It's a group of friends, mostly gay men, just playing games together. This one night, Matt was the name of the guy who had passed out on stream.
So starting to hit really close to home, by the way.
Oh boy, hitting real close to home. Yeah. So yeah, he was Matt. His name was Matt, and I through that I started watching Twitch, and through a long series of okay, now I started watching this person and this person. It's crazy to think about how interconnected all the things were, because I saw a guy pass out drunk on stream after playing Mario Party.
Isn't that kind of the great and horrible part of the internet?
Yeah, it's both the best and worst thing that everything can spread beyond your wildest imagination at all times.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's merit to it. There's also a real dark side to it, but yeah, I don't know. I just my dad he turned 70 this year, and he's very much opposed to his likeness being on the internet. And then there is me who's it's gonna fucking be out there anyways, why not just give him everything? And I don't give up my social security number, but it's I don't.
But you still have to give me your social security number. Thanks. I mean,
if you want it,
can
you please just pay my student loans on time?
I'll think about it.
That's not convincing enough. I can't give it to you now.
Yeah, there's a divide between the people who accept that the idea of privacy has really changed, and those of us who are we're fine with it now. We'll deal with the problems with it.
Well, here, I mean, dude, there's this healthy balance in it, and thankfully I didn't have a camera on my phone when I was younger, because there's no photo evidence of things that we did. But now being an adult, I understand it's pretty easy to hunt down information if you know where to look or you care to look.
Yes.
As a result of that, I don't hide a ton of it. Obviously I don't really give out my address or sensitive information like that, but my name is not an uncommon name. It's both front and back are very common, so I don't really stop from people saying my name. That's why, I mean, Glitter knows my first name. I mean, it's Matt. It's not like a big secret, but it's just like,
Yes.
and like
even I knew that.
Exactly. And it's like on the podcast I use my name, and on other podcasts I've been on I use my name, and it's just fucking, who really cares? Like I think when you try to hide it is when people start to get a little too pokey about it.
Yeah, it's like it's the idea of like it's the Streisand effect. The more you try to hide something, the more it kind of blows up.
Yep. And
You tell people there's something they can't have, they're gonna want it more.
Exactly. So if you really want my social security number, I'll send it to you. It's only 3 numbers.
Cool.
If you can guess the 3 numbers, I'll tell it to you.
7.
Nope.
69.
Oh, one of those is right. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think there's just there's an amount of understanding where we are in the world, and going from there.
This has been a great It Follows podcast, I think.
I just, we're here to hang out, give people content while Erica is recouping from birthing.
How is that? How is she?
I talked to her earlier today, and she said she slept for about an hour last night. I guess there's some breathing stuff with the new baby that they're going to, they have the doctor, so they have a checkup appointment that they want the doctor to look at, but she's not too worried. But she's like, it's hard to sleep when their baby is making like choking sounds. So
yeah,
it is what it is. I think she'll live. Every part of me wants to be like, every part of me wants to be like, I don't fucking care. But whatever. As much as Erica and I make fun of each other, like, we are very close.
Yeah, every time I see her in chat, it's like, are you guys gonna get divorced? Is that happening soon?
We're not married.
I know.
I was because someone else thought that was you that said it, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. It's like, I'm the one who misunderstood that earlier, and I'm now recalling this joke.
But I was, her and I talked about it, and she's like, "Well, we do bicker a lot," and it's like her.
That's why I thought that initially,
which makes perfect sense. Her husband, Dan, who also does the podcast with us, like Erica and I are very similar, and then my wife and Dan are very similar, and I think that's why Erica and I got so close, because we need to talk about our spouses to someone else that gets it. And that's probably why the bickering happens. And it's also like Twitch streaming is kind of I hate to be like, well, it's a business venture. Like, I'll never make a living doing this, but it's supplemental income for the podcast and everything. So it's like her being there and drumming up conversation and shit talking and stuff is obviously, it helps. So, and
I'm sure you'll become famous one day. You just got to become a cam boy.
This isn't the first time this week that my OnlyFans came up. What the fuck? I was talking to my wife earlier today. We were sitting on the couch watching like BattleBots or something, because that's what we do now when we're in our 30s. She's like, if I could get paid for someone to touch my thigh, I would do it. And I said, I think this is what an OnlyFans is.
Yeah.
And I was like, so maybe we just go down this road where... And you know what? And this all kind of... I like that we keep going full circle, but it's like, there's a market for it. That's fine. It's not my scene, but it's someone's, and that's fine. Because someone was like, you should start an OnlyFans. I'm like, no one wants to fucking see that. And they're like, I bet someone does. And I'm like, I'm sure someone does. I just don't want... I mean,
if you've ever been on a cam site, there's a lot of things where you're like, who would like this? I'm like, enough people that this person does it consistently, right? Like, they're throwing money at him.
Yep.
And...
yeah, when
stand to that.
When I set up, I did the drum stream for my basement, and I had like a moderately elaborate setup, I guess. And my wife walked down and she just kind of looked at me, and I said, I'm starting an OnlyFans. She's like, the fuck you are? And I said, what? Like, yeah. I mean, if people want to watch it, why not? She got really bummed out, and I was like, no, I'm just going to play drums on the internet. And she's like, oh, okay.
It's like, she's thinking to herself, like, that asshole's for me.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no one wants to see you jam a drumstick in your butt. Like, but they do. And that's why this is happening. There's 3 camera angles.
Yeah. Drummer boy 69 OnlyFans.
You know what? I didn't get to touch on your comment about you calling me Neil Peart, which I think the guy's rest in peace. He's a phenomenal drummer. I've seen Rush like 4 or 5 times. Plus, my dad was a huge Rush fan, so it was like part of my childhood. No part of it was ever why I started playing the drums, but I took that as a compliment, even though that guy is way better than me. Even Neil Peart dead is better than me alive.
Yeah, dead Neil Peart is still outplaying every other drummer who ever lived.
Yes. Anyone that doesn't... hot take. Anyone who does not agree that he is one of the best drummers ever is an idiot. Just listen to that guy talk about him and like how he conceptualized drum solos. Like, get the fuck out of here. Most people are just like,
he definitely cared a lot about the drums, unlike other bands who shall remain nameless. Metallica.
Oh, Metallica is literally one of my favorite bands of all time, and I agree with you.
Yeah, even Metallica fans are like, Lars, the drumming is not the best.
I saw a fucking meme, and it was an interview with someone in James Hetfield, and it said, "Is Lars the best drummer in the world?" And Hetfield's response was, "Lars isn't even the best drummer in Metallica." And so I saw them, I think it was 2018. Was it 2018 or 2019? Anyways, they played in Wisconsin twice on that tour. And the first time we saw them, they like pulled someone out of the crowd and took him in back. And, the kid was like, "Oh, play Seek and Destroy," and, whatever. And I was with the bass player of my bands at the time. And he goes, "Dude," he goes, "imagine if they pulled you in there." And it's like, I can very easily play Seek and Destroy. And he goes, just to be like, you play that song better than their current drummer does. Maybe I would have been in Metallica. But the thing, like, my dad saw Metallica for the first time on that same tour. And he goes, they're like still playing everything. And I'm like, "Dad," I said, "watch this." And I sent him like Lars playing Battery from 1989 as opposed to Lars playing Battery in 2019. It's like he's fucking playing slower. None of the fills. We call his double bass butterfly kisses. And I'm like, it's just fucking, I get it. You're almost 60, but Dave Lombardo's still playing Raining Blood like he wrote it in the 80s. Why can't Lars play Battery like he wrote it in the 80s? Just because he wants to be artsy.
He's too busy. He's just way too busy suing people, suing Napster and people for downloading their music illegally.
Did we talk about Napster ever?
No, I don't think we did.
What is your take on the whole Napster thing and how Lars handled that?
It was terrible, and it started a domino effect of like all these other bad copyright policies, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you. I think part of it is there needed to be someone to open their mouth, and that person just happened to be Lars. Unfortunately, Lars handled it like a fucking shithead. And everything that came with it. I guess the upside is like the way that we now consume music and how music gets released on a digital platform is so streamlined and easy. Like, I don't buy physical CDs anymore. I buy vinyl if I buy physical anything.
Yeah.
But I still don't have to like go to a store to get something. It's just there on the internet on release date. Yeah. And I think that's a nice part of it. But man, he really really shit the bed. I don't know how that whole thing came about though.
Yeah, the whole piracy issue is very touchy because obviously it's like if you care about these things, like we want people to get paid, but also is suing like some random person for file sharing, is that really a thing we're going to? Because it's going to cost more to sue them.
Yes.
Than it's going to cost for whatever they illegally downloaded. It's for sure like it's not financially feasible to do.
Right. So here's the other thing is people who get really bent out of shape about it, and it's like, well, what if whatever your job is, now all of a sudden a large portion of your income is being taken away because someone's just getting it for free. Like, wouldn't you get pissed about it? So it's like I get it from that standpoint, but back to the point is like I think he kind of handled it like a shithead. But I could very well see if someone all of a sudden, 50, 60, whatever % of my income is being taken away because people are illegally sharing the music, where do you draw the line?
This is the thing. it's like yes, we want people to be paid for things, but it's like you can't stop it being on the internet and people share it. You can't stop that thing.
Mhm.
You have to kind of figure ways to like work around it. There have been certain workarounds, like obviously like even though there's problems with it, like Spotify. A lot of people just don't even pirate music anymore because it's like, well, it's just probably on Spotify.
Mhm.
Then the problem with Spotify is like, they don't really pay out all
Mm-mm.
that much
Nope.
at all, like
Nope.
next to nothing.
Yeah, and if you're not sure or you haven't heard me complain about it before, I think we get about 1/10,000th of a cent per stream.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
Yep. Which is a problem in itself. Now, granted, if you're a larger band or you're Metallica and people are playing Nothing Else Matters 57,000 times a month, that's some amount of money. But when that's your income and you're multimillionaires because you're fucking
If you're already an
Metallica.
established artist who's gonna get like millions and millions of streams every day,
Right.
then it's probably not that big a deal, honestly.
Right. This just the music industry has always been garbage. And it's really not any better. Now we just don't need record labels to get our music to the entire
Which is
internet.
great. I would much rather, I'm glad that things like Bandcamp exist,
Mhm.
alternative platforms to give the people the money, because you don't necessarily need like a lot of people to like what you need enough people to like to sustain what you do. Really,
Right.
it's true of like everything. Like, whether you're a YouTuber or a Twitcher, you don't need like 1 million people following and subbing to you. It's not necessary. You just need enough to continue doing what you're doing.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
If it pays the bills, then you've kind of accomplished doing the thing.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. Yeah, it's ever and I don't know, like you said, you just randomly saw you wanted to see a guy get drunk and pass out with his pants off. And then that turned into you streaming, and now you have a pretty solid community that consistently shows up when you stream. And you're, obviously making some money as a result of that. And that's kind of like a neat accidental byproduct of you just wanting to see a guy drunk pass out with his pants on.
Yeah. And the real twist is he wasn't even the one I wanted to see without the pants on the most of all the things. When I saw the other ones, I was like, "Oh wow, can you get drunk and pass out on stream? Is that a thing you can do, sir?"
But it's usually the one that you don't want to see is that does it, because they're the ones that have the least to lose.
I mean, they're all attractive, but if my personal preference,
Oh man, maybe if you give them enough bits or donations. I don't even know if these people that we're talking about are still even active streamers.
No, they stopped streaming like a while ago. Some of them moved away. I got other parts. Like there's various things that have spawned from it. Like one of them actually just recently released an album, I believe, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
like an electronic music artist.
Interesting.
Another one of them just like I believe started in OnlyFans.
Of course, they started in OnlyFans.
And of course, like if especially when you know, like part of the reason why they got as much traction as they did is that one of them was like fairly well known in like the gay bear scene for like just being like when Tumblr allowed you to be post nudes whenever you wanted.
Mhm.
Like he was kind of like getting some serious traction with that. That's why the Super Cubs thing blew up, because they got a lot of support from like, oh, he's like, hey, subscribe to my Twitch channel that I'm a part of. So that's why the whole incident of that one guy passing out got as much traction, because they had a kind of a bigger audience than just starting out streaming. Just like there was like 500 or so people already like following. And so someone was like, I'm gonna post this to Reddit.
I mean, isn't like kind of that the name of the game? Try to do.
I wish
something
people
to
would
get more
post
people
my
stuff.
things to Reddit.
I mean, I can make that happen quite easily.
Don't worry, I'll make sure to when I stream tonight, I'll get my butthole will be full out. I'll turn the clips on, get the clip.
What what time are you planning on streaming?
In like about 45 minutes. I was always planning to like stream like an hour later today, just so I
Okay.
could talk to you.
No, I appreciate that. Partially asked because I would like to watch. Partially asked because I don't want to. I want like you to have the amount of time needed to. Like I have this. It's weird. I don't know. Whatever. I think we're to that point. Usually about 10 minutes before I start to stream, my body's like, "Hey, you're gonna take a shit now." So it's like I have like this
It
warm up.
happens to me.
Yeah, I have like this warm up process where it's like it really isn't a big deal, but you know, like I guess I gotta poop and
I've been
get
late
water
to
and stuff.
like a dozen streams because my body, right before I was about to press go live, it's like, nope, you're not going live just yet, sir. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, body.
I tried.
That's what I think about. I used to like really care about like being on time, but I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll
Yeah.
just deal with this issue and I'll come back.
I try to set it up so that when I go live, because I always have that 3-minute countdown, it's like the next room over is the bathroom. So it's like I go live, hit the timer, go take a shit, and then I come back, and then it's just about time to go. It's kind
I'm
of
one
a
of those
fun.
that I just like to press go live and just be there. So maybe I need a timer. That's what I really need. It's like start the stream, like, hey guys, I'll be back. Give me like I'll choose a ridiculous time to count down from like exactly 7 minutes 33 seconds. Like, why is that where the timer starts?
This is the average mean time that I need to take a dump. It's fine. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't know why. Like from the get go, we always had like the countdown. I don't know. I did some reading before we started streaming because we're still pretty new to the game, and it was always like, don't start a stream without anybody there. Do a timer. I'm like, whatever. I have done ones where I'm just there, but I'm usually drunk before those start. Instead of drunk halfway through, I'm just drunk at the start.
You're drunk at the start, and soon you'll become a Reddit post about being drunk and not having your pants on.
I did lift up my shirt in one not that long ago. I was talking about my chest tattooed or something on my nipples or some shit, and I just lifted up my shirt. So it's out there. We're getting there.
Yes, you need to make the gays thirst.
You know what? If here's the way: if there is a gay guy out there that finds me attractive, and like that's a compliment to me. Like I'm not. It's not gonna weird me out. Like That's awesome that someone finds me attractive. So that's fucking tight. I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
After you every stream. It's been high key for a while.
You know, I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure. It's always really nice to see when you show up and stuff, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. So I appreciate it, man.
Now start the OnlyFans, you whore.
You know what? But what do I even price it at? Do I go free and then just like $20 nitpicks? Like, where do we go from here?
I have no idea how pricing really works on OnlyFans, so I actually have no idea. I don't even like watch anyone on OnlyFans. I have no idea what they're doing.
Here's my extensive knowledge of OnlyFans. So it's basically like you can set your subscription price so that someone can follow you per month. Some are free, some are $5, $15, whatever. And then you can send posts or whatever, and it's like, oh, pay $20 to unlock this picture of my butthole. It's stuff like that. So it's like you, in a lot of situations, you pay money to be able to pay more money to see a naked lady or a naked dude. So it's a really convoluted and ass backwards concept, in my opinion.
It is kind of weird. Also, I don't know if you heard the story. There was an OnlyFans that was rated. It's like a real life father and son, but all they do is just workout videos. Like that's the whole OnlyFans apparently. Like they're like, we're really shocked that people thought there was something sexual here. I'm like, what do you mean? You started an OnlyFans. You think it's weird? But people thought there was going to be sexual content here.
Not every OnlyFans is of sexual nature. It went that direction because I think a lot of porn stars and a lot of camera girls went that way. But that's just another.
But to make an OnlyFans and to be like shocked that people were shocked that there wasn't sexual content, it's like, come on.
Exactly.
Like they were a real father and son who really thought that they were going to start an OnlyFans and there wasn't going to be an article about it.
And you know what? And that's a really good point. I believe that OnlyFans probably from its inception was never meant to be like a sexual only thing, but then some adult film stars or adult film creators kind of took it, and that's just the history has shown DVD got popular because porn chose it. Blu-ray got popular because porn chose it. OnlyFans got popular because porn chose it. And that's kind of a funny and disturbing testament to humanity.
I just wish that Twitch would show more porn. That's what you did. That's what you've convinced me of. More porn Twitch right now.
You know what? I bet if it got to a point where Twitch had to show porn to stay profitable, they would.
Yeah. there's no doubt in my mind that if this big corporation is like, they would totally be like, oh, people like the porn. It's making a lot of money. Well, time to get in on that.
Right.
I don't see why not.
Right. Someday maybe, or they'll make like adult.twitch.tv. But
like a separate like sister site for just like, here's the porn stuff.
But think of how many cam websites there are, Cam Soda or whatever. Like, those are basically Twitch for porn.
Chatterbait, yeah.
Chatterbait, that's another one too. The internet's a weird place at times.
People are weird.
Yeah, they're very weird.
So it makes it a thing people created would be weird too.
Yep, you win. Yeah, fuck, man. Yeah, I got nothing.
This has been a quality Babadook butt plug conversation.
We've
touched on like every subject possible. I almost like this more than even talking about It Follows by itself. It feels like it's a different thing at this point.
I knew that this is what was going to happen. No part of me is surprised that we got off on a tangent.
Honestly, I knew it was going to happen as well, and I was almost intentionally like, you know what? Let's just talk about this nonsense. Why not? I'm down with it.
I'm more about good conversation, whatever direction, however it comes, than forcing a topic. I've been doing this long enough. There was only one time that I interviewed someone that I actually came with like a list of questions, and that's because he was like a true professional. He made me like come home it was obviously when I still went into an office for work, but I had to like come home on my lunch to do the interview in the middle of the day because he insisted on it being like during his work day. It's kind of a dick move, guy, and it got me nowhere. So you live and you learn.
Living and we're learning and we're churning.
Ooh, butter. Oh, not churning butter. Okay. Joke's on me, I guess. I mean, that's all I got. I know you want to start streaming in the not too distant future, so we should probably wrap this up. But any other hot takes?
Conversation.
Any other hot takes you want to get out there?
I might as well get some hot takes out for the internet. So I'm like, when I hear this podcast, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna use that audio clip of me saying that later, possibly. Yep. That's gonna be the goal. I'm gonna release some hot takes, and that'll be the podcast. You don't have to even title it like, if we talk about It Follows, this will be Hot Takes with T1BG.
That's fine. We can certainly do that. It'll be. Yeah, I'll just have Erica name the episode that. It's just Hot Takes with T1BG.
That would be great.
No one's going to have any idea what we're even talking about. I don't even know if we're going to like sell this as like we talked about It Follows. I think we're just going with Hot Takes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at this point, it's like, even if you scrouch together all the It Follows bits, there's no way it's a full podcast.
No,
there's
literally,
no way.
The only thing I might do is go back and cut out some of the silence. And even then, I probably won't do too much. So this is you're pretty much getting what you're getting.
Cool. So here's hot takes. This hot take category is for film. Here are my hot takes on film. Quentin Tarantino is an idiot for thinking that the best film of the 2010s was The Social Network.
Oh.
It's like he stopped watching films in the 2010s after 2010. He called it the best film of the 2010s. Like, did you not watch anything else? It's not even the best film of that year. Quentin Tarantino is incorrect. Hot take number 1.
Okay.
Hot take number 2. Pixar films are highly overrated, and we should stop giving 90% metascores for films that are perfectly well animated but boring otherwise. Whenever I see a Pixar film has like a 95, I'm like, that's overrated. There's no way it's a 95. People love Pixar. It just hits them in the feels, but I guess I'm growing to be an old cynical man where hitting me in the feels is much harder than just being adorable, I guess.
I get behind. I don't disagree with the word you're saying, so I don't really have a whole lot to say.
I'm just hoping that someone listening will be like, damn him, I'm going to go to twitch.tv/thatoneblackguy, where it's all one word lowercase, where black is spelled BLK, and I'm going to complain. Do it.
Do you have a suggestion box at home on your Twitch channel? Because now might be the time to add it.
You know what? I just might. I don't know if this is really a hot take. Maybe this is like a niche thing to have a hot take about, but I'm currently mad at Criterion Collection.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are listening, Criterion Collection is, they restore older films and like try to highlight like artistic achievements through film. Try to quote unquote, this is what annoys me. They said we're showing film in the highest quality possible. That's a lie. Here's how it's a lie. Their films are all in 1080p, even though they do 4K restorations, which means that they work from 4K files, but the transfer is 1080p. So this became a problem when they released Parasite, the South Korean film from 2019 that won Best Picture, on the Criterion Collection, where you had to make a choice. Did you want the Criterion Collection version with all the special features, or did you want the 4K version, which is actually the highest quality? Because Parasite was shot in 6K and transferred to 4K, which means that the director's vision is in 4K. So you're not getting the best possible vision that reflects the director's intent. You're getting almost that. And if you're going to tout yourself as presenting film in the highest quality, you should actually do that.
I like it.
It just annoys me because it's like there's so many problem. The reason why I'm so annoyed with it is because so many people defend Criterion. Like, I can barely tell the difference. I'm like, oh, come on. What do you mean you can barely tell the difference? I think that honestly, if you sat someone down and like, here's the 4K version or something, and here's the 1080p version, there's no way your human eyes can't see it.
Now I gotta look. Like, I mean, obviously, I can tell the difference between 4K and I've never seen 6K, but I know 8K is coming, and
yeah, it just annoys me because Criterion just for years, none of their films are in 4K. But it's weird because they work on with the 4K files for a lot of these things, but then it just ends up being 1080p on the actual release. I'm like, what the fuck's happening there? I think one of the problems for them, I guess, is that if they make one real 4K release, the implication is that they're re-releasing the whole library in 4K. I'm like, you gotta fucking start at some point. Don't tell me you're presenting film in the highest quality possible if literally the 4K Blu-ray is a higher quality than what you are actually giving me. I don't know. I like Criterion. It's a frustrating decision that they've made.
yeah, I mean, I paid so little attention to Criterion over the years that I didn't know any of this, but I feel like it's become so much of, like, it's more the name than the product at this point, but that could just be me.
Yeah, the Criterion Collection has like a streaming service, and to the surprise of no one, the streaming service doesn't even allow things in 4K. You still have to watch it in 1080p like a normie.
Oh, wow. I'm kind of surprised with how good compression has gotten, and like data caps kind of went the way of the buffalo. Like, why not allow streaming in 4K? Like, I know Netflix does. Well, I shouldn't say that it's 4K. They do their UHD, but
yeah.
I think most people just don't give a shit, to be perfectly honest. This is just you and I wanting the best.
Wanting the best. I guess regular people don't care. Like, if you the only people who care about the best possible quality for a piece of art are just like weirdos like me and you. Like, everyone else is like, I don't care. I like fast food. I'm like, you can explain to them why it's bad and here are the benefits of not doing it. Like, they're like, I don't care. I'm gonna eat at McDonald's. Fuck you. I got a McFlurry.
Well, it's delicious. McDonald's is.
I mean, to be fair,
good.
the McFlurry is high quality. It's like my favorite thing.
Huh.
I'm getting type 2 diabetes over it, honestly.
I have not had a McFlurry in a real long time. I will tell you this. I had a mocha and chocolate Kit Kat right before we started doing this. Fucking delightful. It was so good. I wish I would have made coffee to go with it. What's your stance on coffee?
I like coffee flavored things. Not a big fan of actual coffee.
Okay.
When it comes to like getting caffeine, I just drink tea. Just green tea.
Okay. Yeah, I like iced tea. I have a big pitcher of iced tea that sits on my counter at all times. And then I put lemonade in it, make a nice homemade Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer.
Yep.
My favorite porn star.
If that's not a porn star, I'm gonna be shocked.
I just said that just to be like funny, but I'm like, if that's not a real thing, I'm gonna be very upset.
Let me open it incognito here. Palmer porn star. Yeah, Arnold Palmer is a porn star.
Yes. Good for that person. Good for them.
There's 3 Google entries about Arnold Palmer, porn star, and then golf. So
Maybe you should. I don't know if they're currently still working in the porn industry, but if they are, they should make now with this information, make a porno as like a professional golfer.
oh man, I'm gonna get a hole in one, and then just has sex with the person. Yeah,
You described literally what I want.
You know what? There is a market for golf-based pornography.
I mean, they make porn about all the other sports, right?
That's true. I've watched a few soccer ones in my day.
Soccer, rugby.
Yep.
I saw one about cricket. I'm like, that's weird, but
weird.
I guess sure, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Do all the sports, do all the things.
If someone's gonna watch it, why not?
Yeah.
I
I think
this.
we've covered my film hot takes. I've got a big TV hot take, which is that I think that people overrate television, and that TV, because there's what's known as the golden age of television, like with things like The Wire, The Sopranos, Mad Men, Breaking Bad. People are like, we've reached a new echelon in television. And here's my hot take. I'm going to argue, no, we have not. I would argue that yes, there are more good shows now than before, but I think that people overrate TV shows. When people tell me about a good TV show, you know what comes up almost all the time? It gets good at this point. Like it's like you have to get a certain amount of invested into it. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't do that for films, and that's my favorite artistic medium. If a film isn't doing it for me generally in like the first 30 40 minutes, and I'm not like gonna talk about it on stream, I just stop watching it.
I'm the exact same way. I'm to a point where if I know I'm not going to like it, I'm not going to continue to waste my time with it.
If it's not going to be a part of something else I'm going to do, like if I'm not going to do like talk about it in a podcast or make a video or, talk about it on stream, if it's not one of those things and it's bad, I'm like, I'm just going to stop watching right now. There's no point.
Yep. I have a buddy of mine claims that watching one full season of a TV show is the amount of time that you need to decide if you like it or not. I don't even know if I can give it.
No.
Yeah, I can't give a TV show that much time. And I respect that decision, and I've tried it. There are just some things that just aren't worth it, though.
I'm the person like I try to give them like I have a standard of like I'll give it 3 episodes a maximum. If I'm really gonna try out a show, I'm like I'll watch a few episodes, and if it doesn't go well, I'll just stop. Like because it always gets fillery, especially in shows that are ongoing series.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to be like one episode where it's like, why don't you just do this to advance the plot? Oh, because it's a 12-episode TV show. That's why you need this to happen. Because if it didn't happen, this season would be like 5 episodes long, wouldn't it?
Yep. Yeah, and they want to hit that special number for some reason.
Just TV in general, I think is just over. Like I think there are more shows that I like now. Like when I look through the shows that I've enjoyed over the past 5 or so years, I'm like, there's a lot of shows that I definitely really like that have come out. I think TV is coming with great things and experimenting, but I feel like TV has a problem of like just going on forever. Whether you're a scripted or episodic show, it's like TV doesn't have like a point, like a goal in mind usually, which is I think is part of the problem. You're just you're just going to the writer's room every season and you're like, okay, what do we do now? But if there was a larger point, like when you make a film, you have to kind of know the whole point. It's a whole product by itself. Where a TV show, it's like you don't know if that product's going to keep going, how long you have to make it. There's a lot of things you just don't know until you're actually like in the process. And I feel like it's holding television back in a lot of ways.
Right, and I think the best, I think Breaking Bad is maybe a perfect TV show. They told the story.
I would disagree with that,
which is fine, and I think the character development was there. And I know Eric and I have talked about this, so she will agree when we listen. The character development is there. You loved and hated almost every character at one point in the series. It didn't seem to drone on. The story was told, and the story was ended. Now I need your take.
I think season 2 of Breaking Bad is one of the worst seasons of television I've ever seen.
Which one was that?
And I come from the position of like I really loved season 1, and season 2 felt like it was buying its time. Like it was like, oh, we want to do things. Like one of the things that really annoyed me was the constant at the start of like I believe every episode they had like little flashback about something that was going to happen in the future, and then when it actually happened, it was not worth the wait. I was like, that was a waste of time. To include it in the start of every episode.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry, that's the one with Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jane, she was an insufferable plot device character that I could not stand.
Who became Jessica Jones.
Yeah, good for her.
I guess. Unless she made something of her life.
There's some characters I think that they did not intend to have live on after season 1, like goddamn his Walter White's wife. It's like they had no idea what they were doing with her. Like, she's just around now, just to cause petty drama.
Yeah, she sucked a lot of that. A lot of the show.
I don't think it's not even like the actress's fault. It's just like they don't give her anything to work with. They just give her garbage every time.
Well, I want to say I read somewhere that Jesse wasn't supposed to be in more than like a couple episodes, and then he ended up being the entire show.
Yeah, now he's like one of the he's like the fan favorite character.
Yeah. So I agree with what you said. Probably had a.
I don't know why I watched like as much of Breaking Bad as I did, because I love season 1, so I thought, okay, I'll watch season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 sucked for me, and then season 3, I quit somewhere in season 3, like around the time when his wife was like, you know what? Now that I know that you're doing meth, it's time to antagonize you by saying like, yeah, I fucked Ted, fuck you. Like, is this really the most productive thing you could do? Really?
Well, you didn't even get to the part where, they buy the car wash and then she gets in on laundering the money. That's yeah.
Didn't even get to that far. Yeah.
Becomes a whole thing at some point. On that note, though, you need to stream soon. I have to pee real bad. So let's wrap this thing up so I can go and throw money at you on the internet here shortly.
Yeah, you do that. Hello, everyone. Tis I, that one black guy. Spelled however my name. You should see my name in the Apple thing. My name will be there.
Yep.
You'll know how to spell it. You can see it with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my name on the Twitch. That's my name on the Twitter. And I'm just delightful. I'm amateur internet comedian, media commentary guy. That one black guy. Coming to a theater near you.
That was awesome. I didn't even need to ask where people can find you. You just went and did it. I appreciate that. But yeah,
it's called being a professional.
Well, we'll have to do this again soon. Maybe make more topics that aren't just one movie that we never talk about.
Yeah, maybe it should be a bunch of films that we don't talk about. That'll be interesting.
That's fine. Or it's just maybe we'll just do like a random hot take Sunday. Just a bunch of hot takes.
I'd be down.
Yeah, we could do that too. We'll figure something out. But yeah, go get ready for your stream. And I will talk to you soon, bud.
Thanks for having me. It was a fun conversation. Hope we can do it again soon. And I better get 1 million followers and 1 million subs from this. Minimum.
And if not,
I'm going to sue.
Fuck. Okay, well, you might as well just start the suing paperwork now. Just expedite the process. I can guarantee you somewhere between 3 and 5.
You know what? That's more than a regular stream for me. So, you know what? Deal.
Cool. That was easy. All right, man. You have a good day, and I will talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
That's going to do it for another Fireside Chat. Next time, I believe, I'm in the process of setting one up with another streamer I met on Twitch, Count Canula. He actually hosts 2 horror podcasts. Well, one, Butcher Block, is a horror podcast. Brainworms is a little more open roundtable discussion stuff, but hoping to get that set up for, I don't know, maybe next weekend. So it'll be a little longer between releases, but I don't know. At least some of us are doing stuff. Eric is just sitting around.